Today's topic is all about why is everything getting politicized?
You got to really watch what you say because you're going to disrespect some type of group. You can't just think. I mean, of course we filter. We're not trying to be disrespectful, but it's almost like people belong to a group, and if you say something about that group or you say something wrong, they nitpick your words, and you can't really let your feelings out the way you kind of want to say them sometimes because people take everything so hard and so to heart. That sometimes you don't even say anything because you don't want to go that route.
Can you, for us and the fans out there, give me the basics on what's going on with Ice Cube and what he said? Because I'm not aware, to be honest.
But I don't though. That's why I didn't elaborate on it, because I said I didn't see the whole thing. So it's like just
maybe right.
So, and this happened maybe 2 weeks ago, right? So and then he had to go on CNN to kind of explain to Chris Cuomo his position, because one thing that the media does very well is, without getting all the facts, they start bashing people. Yo, what's up, everybody? We're up here in episode 15. That's right, 15. Keeping it moving. Today's topic is going to be very interesting, a little bit deep, a little bit funny, but we're going to keep it to the point where it's going to be very entertaining. Y'all know me, Ray. Today I'm going to be hosting this episode. So let me start by introducing my panel. All right, so let's see. Let's start with Manny. What up, Fresh?
What's up, fellas? What's up, family? Thank you, Brother Ray. All good, man. Excited to get it popping. Episode 15. Let's get it going.
That's right. All right, moving it on. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Eyaoh, talk to the people.
Bueno, yo le voy a saludar a mi gente, Latino World, Puerto Rico, México, Dominicana, Panamá, episodio 15, ya tú sabes. Venezuela. Now I want to talk to my peoples, looking forward to this show, like always, Yeah, man, just keep it rocking. Let's do it.
Last and not least, our brother from the West Coast.
Yes,
Charlie
sir.
T. Step up to the mic. Let's go.
Just like I said, man, this is I'm so just excited each time we get on there because that number just keeps creeping. It's 15, man. It's 15, man. Yep. Before you know it. Like I remember when we just first started, but I won't go back that far. Let's get it started, man.
Yeah, let's go. That's right. Yeah, let's not go back that
far. And as you mentioned, right? As you mentioned, as the episodes keep creeping up, same as the views, our subscribers, our listeners, the comments. We really appreciate you guys. We just keep reaching out geographically. Just keeps growing and growing. I saw Kenya on the list. I was ecstatic when I saw Kenya on the list. Obviously, there's Turkey, there's Colombia. Right. I mean, it's just going out there. So. You guys, you can see us on YouTube, obviously, but we're also on other podcasts, such as the radio platform. We have Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple, and Spotify. So if you have one of those other means of listening to us, if you can't watch YouTube, you can always get us on those other platforms. So, without further ado, let's get it going. Today's topic.
Wait. Tell them when we air. When do we air?
We usually come on Mondays. Is the regular day that we're trying to put the shows out there. So catch us on Mondays, or if you can, obviously Monday is the premiere, but you can watch us on any other day: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and start again Monday. So basically we're on every day. If you can't catch this one, we have other episodes that we said. Cool.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
That's right. Yes, sir.
All right. So let's get it going. Today's topic is, I would say, will definitely get your mind going, right? But I want to say up front that we don't want to get too deep into this particular topic. We want to talk about, certain themes that are out there, get the panel's views, get the conversation going. And always, as we ask, if you have anything you want to join the conversation, you could do it by, your comments, and even reaching us on a hotline, which is 201-771-0002. I'll
Yes, sir.
repeat,
Yes, sir.
201-771-0002. Okay, so with that said, let's get into it, right? Today's topic is all about why is everything getting politicized, right? You could be talking about a simple topic and suddenly I will give you an example, and then it goes into the political realm, and then we want to understand why it gets to that point. So, for example, straight out the bat, right? With what we're facing today, I mean, we're in a situation where we've been there before, but not at this grandeur and scale, right? So, this pandemic, one of the things that we're trying to really, is going to enable us to control this pandemic is to wear a mask, right? The scientists say it, but that's not, nowadays, whatever the scientists say is not always what people follow. People follow a particular ideology if it's going to be good for them or not. So, for example, this you hear the term, this is a blue thing or this is a red thing. When at the end of the day, it's all about saving somebody's life, being able to maintain. So, with that said, I wanna throw it to my brother Eyaoh to see, what he thinks about that, and if there's another example that he could give that kind of falls under that particular platform. Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to say I'm very excited about this topic because for a long time, I've always said that more and more people become a little bit more sensitive, right? And what I mean about that is like, you got to really watch what you say because you're going to disrespect some type of group. You can't just think. I mean, of course we filter. We're not trying to be disrespectful, but it's almost like people belong to a group, and if you say something about that group or you say something wrong, they nitpick your words, and you can't really let your feelings out the way you kind of want to say them sometimes because people take everything so hard and so so to heart.
Yeah.
That sometimes you don't even say anything because you don't want to go that route. But I think the world is becoming more sensitive as we move on.
In general.
And any little thing is just like they blow it up to this big thing, and then there goes us making something political, right? When something may not even be political, right?
Exactly. And then it loses all its meaning at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
it's true meaning.
So it actually takes that whole speak your mind, theory. When people say, "Well, just speak your mind," you can't speak your mind because guess what? You speak your mind, somebody takes offense, right? And you could just not even be joking or just saying, that brother Manny, he's a good Dominican dude, but they'll go, why?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
There's no good Dominican.
Anything like that.
Right, so that's so true.
So it's like just the slightest little word.
But for the record, I am a good Dominican. I just want to put that out there.
He's a good brother. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's a good Dominican brother. No.
Oh!
That's another thing, right? That's another thing. How many labels do they have for every little thing? All they are is labels, right? Because if it's the English language, then like Latino, Hispanic, and we can't say this, we can't say that.
Latin X now, right?
Latin X. Like,
what is that?
Yeah, like I mean,
like, are we hiding behind what we truly are, or are we afraid of to your point, Charles, like offending somebody because then you never know if you're going to be blasted on social media because social media plays a big role nowadays. You say the wrong thing and guess what, you may lose your job, which we've seen lately. So
good point.
Not only has things been politicized, it's also been like you're also almost like taking away your freedom of speech at some point, right? Because you can, and if you do speak your mind, to your point again, Charlie, then people are going to revolt against that, right? Here's another one. So when Colin Kaepernick started kneeling during the anthem, it was because
he was
protesting the brutality. But then obviously some people didn't see that in that way, and then they made a big thing about it. And then the man wasn't working after a while. He got pretty ostracized from NFL and everything else. So at some point, it does take a completely different path, and you get to a point where like, how did he get there? Like, how are we losing the actual prize in front of our eyes? And that's the whole thing about this whole politicizing.
Can I give my opinion on that too?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
So it's one of those things where we lost the power of communication. right? Because we don't speak to each other right now. All we do is it's either social media or we're sending texts. No one picks up the phone right now.
Yep.
Right? Eyaoh, yesterday when I called you just to go, hey, my brother, what's up? How you doing? I didn't send you a text. I could have sent you a text. I did not call. And he called me back. It was a couple hours later, but guess what? He called me back. He didn't send me a text. But now this generation is like we're losing the power of communication because we don't know how to speak to each other.
That's right.
Right?
You know what's funny, Chuck? Yeah, I'm gonna speak on that for a second. And,
yes, sir.
I always like to take it a little deeper, right, with my philosophy. Mm-hmm. So I think that a lot of the times with social media, so we don't communicate, so we dedicate all this time to our gadgets, right? And little do we not realize that one way or another, 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 15 minutes, you're being influenced. Even if you don't agree by the content that you're viewing.
Yep.
Subconsciously, it's like a commercial, right? You see the Doritos pass by, and all of a sudden, next week, the fella's coming over, buy some Doritos, right? Mm-hmm. Same example, right? You're being influenced when you know scrolling through, and
I would even
so
go
you're not communicating.
Not being influenced. I'm sorry, I will go even further because they will play that same commercial over and over to the point where you're not influenced. You're more like brainwashed to a certain degree. Right.
Correct. No, you're right. And what I was gonna say, Ray, was once you are influenced, you have all this information in your mind that you don't realize you have. You get together with friends or at work with colleagues, right? Pre-COVID, obviously, and all of a sudden everything comes out. But then in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I can't say this because of that. Mm-hmm. It gets really, really confusing. And to Chuck's point, it's because we don't talk anymore. Yep. Because if you talk, you can share how you feel. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with this. That political person. It gets deep, man.
So
I don't know.
I have a question on that, right? And I know that we did say we're not going to ask questions, but I do have a question on that, right? So
no, you can ask questions.
I had a thought today, and I want to expand later, but I want to ask this question first because it's tied to this. So, do you believe that communication can build a society? And when I say communication, think about the ways of interaction. Just between the technology interaction and then the human technology. With that in mind, which society would be better? Like, which society would you love to be? One that is in communications, human to human, or all other type of communications?
I said for me, it has to be human to human, because you can't get excuse me, you can't really get your point across unless you really are able to be, mm-hmm. You don't have to be physically in front of them, but to be able to speak to them, right? You could better get your point across versus sitting up trying to text somebody. Then pick up the phone, because how long is that going to be? You're sitting there texting, it's like, come on, let me call so I can get my point across. And if you agree with it, you agree with it. If not, we could talk it out. Human to human, not through a text.
Yeah. For me, I say, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's fine.
For me, human to human, I would say 90% of it, but I think 10% for communication, more leaning on the business side of it to make our life easier. Yeah.
All right.
I agree with that. No, I agree with that.
I think that's part of a better communication, but I also think it's what you're communicating, right? Correct. I also think of what information are you communicating? One way that we intake information is through the media. Mm-hmm. Some people don't know, but if they hear it on the media, now they feel like they know. And then they communicate that to a colleague or to a friend. Yeah. And then by the time you know it, there's a whole world of people believing something that they heard on the TV or in the media. Right. And it could all be fake news, right? Yeah. Right? And so communication is key. But what is it that we're communicating? It's almost like teaching, right? I can teach you something, but what am I teaching you, right?
You're going down the path.
But you're going
down the path I'm leading this conversation.
Then let me stop. Guys. Keep on pushing, guys. Keep the wheel rolling.
So the reason why I brought that up is, you've all heard the term, it takes a village to raise a child, right? And by that is you go to school, right? So to me, there's like 4 different types of parents. You have obviously the parents from home, right? So that's number one. Then you have your parents, the other set of parents at school, right? Then you have your friends, which is a different set of parents, and then the village, or by that I mean, so if you do something at home,
Neighbors.
neighbors, if you do something at home, and then you have your home values there. If you do it outside, but you live in a close knit society, you're gonna have your neighbor, Miss Johnson, is gonna tell you, don't do that, because we don't do that here, right? Or you're gonna have a teacher that says don't do that, or you're gonna have somebody within the community that knows, like, you're not
To
supposed
correct
to
you,
be
yeah.
doing that, right? But in a world where the communication is more leaning on digital, and to your point, Eddie, when you said, you've because we share information, right? But if false information is being shared and propagated, propaganda, right? Then that whole concept of, it takes a whole village to raise a child, in terms of instilling the
Yeah.
right,
That's right. That's right.
those right, ways, we lose that. And then we lose that, right? And then
Right.
also, you know, you know, in the village, it's you have the concept of not a whole lot of people out there. So you're comfortable with who you know. You may know, like, the person, like, perimeter of 5 homes. You may know that person, or the six. If it's 6 blocks down, okay. But here you have so many people congested over, and you don't even know anybody. So more, and you
Mhm.
you talk less, and then then you start having
Right.
camps or ideas.
Right.
You don't know who else to trust, but what's on social media. So okay, I'm gonna stick to that one side
Correct.
Right.
versus
Correct.
the other side. And again, slowly but surely, here's that whole politicizing, or you're
Yeah.
starting to associate yourself. That's why you have gangs and big.
Yeah.
Do you have gangs in the
Yeah.
villages? Right? No, you don't have that concept. Really, honestly, like back
No,
home,
the
right?
village is a whole big gang.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you want to give it a
Yeah.
name,
There's no
it's
faction,
a
right?
it's a family, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. So I think the reason why we get to that point where of the politicizing of things is because you don't really have your own identity, your own vision, your own beliefs. Just get they're not there. So you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go with whatever's on media or whatever this guy says, or even as simple as mask, climate change, anything. You know, goes back to Charlie's point. You're afraid to truly voice your opinion because
Mm.
there's a whole stream out there that says people that think that way are either idiots or bigots or whatever,
But you
which
know
may be
what?
true, but at the end of the day, you know,
But also too, you also too, when you get ready to speak, you also have to believe in what you're saying, right? Because then if you know that somebody can take it out of context, then because you're speaking your mind and you
hmm
believe in what you say, you have to just let them run with it. Because guess what? If they're truly an honorable person, maybe could be wrong, they're gonna go look it up, right, and see if you are correct. Hopefully.
yeah,
But with the internet, most people, that's what most
yeah,
people do, right? If you say something, they hear something, what's the first thing? You Google it. And if it comes up and they go, oh, this dude was right, then that gives you maybe a little more credibility, or, for when you speak, okay, people really are listening.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So that's why I think the human to human contact versus, like you said, Manny, 90%, and then the other 10%, you need that, but I think, if we totally lose the whole human to human, it's
And
definitely
that's the
going to
way
be
we're
all
going
bad.
because
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Chuck, that's where we're going. I think they not they prey on our
Inability not to communicate.
yeah, that and the dopamine hits that we get, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Every
That's what I'm saying.
time we go, they know that we are like mice to some extent, right? They know that we're gonna pick up the phone and look for that little high. You don't even realize it, but every time you pick up your phone and you think you're getting information, it's a quick flash or something. So there's something to be said about us being in control and having the discipline to put those things away, right? Um, Another point I want to make is, like Chuck says, you can't say anything right nowadays, but at the same time, the same people that want to say something, they're so scared to be wrong that
yeah.
they'll stay quiet, right? They won't say anything. Well, you can't say that, but 15 people in the room want to say it, but you can't say that because it's easier to join the crowd, right? Of safety. But the outspoken person, oh, he's an outsider. No, you got to speak your mind.
Because
For
that
one,
person,
yeah,
I'm
for
sorry.
one, I speak my mind a lot of times. Sometimes it gets me in trouble. but I keep my circle close and small because I know the people that I have around me, they may not agree with what my point, okay, but they're gonna respect me for it. They don't have to agree or do as I say. The same token, I respect their point of view. I might not do the same thing, but this is people that are open-minded enough to understand and have a conversation. And
So
at the end of the conversation, we don't have to agree.
So
what happened to that? We don't have to agree.
So with that said,
okay, don't get me started up here, Rick.
So
and that goes. But
with that said, let me throw this, and I wanna hear Eddie's response to this, right? So we talked about how like it seems like everything gets politicized, right? I'm going to throw another example, and I want to get your each of your point of view, right? So we have this great upcoming fight, right? Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Right?
You gonna make me go fill my red cup again.
But listen to this, right? Listen to this, right? So everybody's talking about this fight, right? So what's the difference between how come that particular topic, which is a hot topic, right? Yeah. Everybody's interested, everybody's talking about it. How come that doesn't get as much or doesn't get politicized as would, let's say, Ice Cube, who has a plan for advancing the black and brown people. He welcomed anybody to listen to his plan, and unfortunately, he's listening at both camps. When the Republicans approached him first, then he's starting to get some backlash and has to defend himself. But then the Mike Tyson and the Roy Jones Jr., everybody's talking about it, but it doesn't get politicized. Why?
But because on that point, Ice Cube, he's not in it for the money aspect of it because he has money, right? So because he could pull he has resources he could pull. So it's not a money aspect. He's just trying to voice his opinion because he believes in what he's speaking, right? So then you got Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. Here you just two businessmen, right? Because it's a business. But then you got two dudes in here beating each other up. What should I take? What should I take seriously?
Keep going.
Keep going. Right. So, I mean, I really don't have too much more to say on it, but
so keep it there. I want to hear from Eyaoh, right? You have celebrity who is trying to do something for the community that gets politicized, and then you have two celebrities going against each other. It's very popular and it doesn't get any of the same backlash as the other. Why do you think so?
I'm going to go back to the word politicize. When you politicize a topic, there's two different sides that agree strongly about this one topic, right? The yes and the no's, right? The this and the that, right? And a lot of times it can be a color thing, it can be a gender thing, it can be a preference thing, it can be a religion thing. Mm-hmm. Those are very strong topics that you have worlds of people that follow either way and either side, right? When it comes to sports, you can talk about it and you can have two different visions and but it stays in sports. With something like, let's say, Ice Cube, and let's say I'm speaking to Donald Trump. Now you're talking about politics, mm-hmm. and a rapper. And it just so happens that they are two different colors, right? And they are representing two different groups. And one is supposed to be the president and taking care of the whole nation. And one is advocating for Black and brown people. So that's going to bring a different kind of media, a different kind of rating, a different kind of money, right? And emotions are going to flare up with those type of things. So much so that they're going to take words and they're going to turn them around.
Right. Even
though that's not what was said or that's what they're speaking about, but they're going to throw it out on the media to get a reaction from people.
Right.
So, and earlier, I'm sorry. No, earlier, I kind of wanted to pose this question. When something is politicized, is that communication to bring people together, or is it a lot of times separating people as a human race?
To get them riled up.
That's my question. Yeah. And is that purposely done? Is that strategically done to keep us a certain way? Something to what you were saying, Manny, right? You were saying, well, when you voice your opinion, do you even want to say that? Because you might be hurting somebody's feeling, but you're in this world, but you're in that world. you're in so many groups without even knowing you're in these groups. You know, like we said, we were joking around with the Dominican, but yeah, I guess I'm Dominican, but you know, I'm a man now. You see how that works? So you're placed in these groups. You're like politically in these groups when you listen to, you know, media, and you're like, I'm just human. Can I just be human for once? Can I even say something wrong without being judged? And I just wanted to throw that out there because you guys are bringing up some amazing points, and
I think that, sorry, Chuck, I know you're there, but I just want to highlight something that he said, because I think it's at the heart of this conversation. It's all about it's the separation aspect of it, because when we say separation, we talk about deep separation, everything to the point where it's almost like hatred. And there is in the Roy Jones versus Mike Tyson, you have clear camps that are Tyson is going to win. Yeah. You have clear camps that Roy Jones is going to win, right? But you don't have anybody that says, "Oh, all you Tyson people, you guys don't know what you're doing," or because at the end of the day, that particular arena cannot be used for separating the population.
Right.
Anything against the conversation.
As long as they're both black.
The human to human. No, I don't think so. In boxing,
I have to say.
Not for nothing, but the movie Rocky. Look into the movie Rocky.
Dude, look at history.
I mean, why was that chosen like that? I mean, we don't want to turn this into this black and white thing, but it's true. In sports, you look at the craft and you can talk about the craft, regardless of what. If you're a true sports fan, then you can talk. Then you don't look at color. You look at the sports, right? You look at the player. Right. You look at the ability, the agility, the strength, the IQ of the game. It doesn't really matter, because I think that's one of the exceptions of when some people separate, like, you know, white person or a black person.
A lot of people do.
And you're just like, no, but the player, now he's just the player, right?
So what do you think of when Ali refused to go?
Oh, that's different. That was a different time. That was a different time.
Yeah. And that's why I said it, right? Because throughout history, in boxing, in sports, a lot of people, sorry, Eddie, you're right. A true fan doesn't see it that way, right? Doesn't see it that way. But most people, they want to identify themselves with their race.
So
to what extent is one thing, right? It's one thing to cheer. Oh, there's an African brother. I hope he represents our country. But then they say, I hope that African guy kicks that other person's ass, right?
I had a joke in there, and the joke is
for me, I have to say.
Let me just say the joke.
What's the joke, Ray? What's the joke, Ray? We need.
I'm sorry.
So what he's talking about in boxing, there is, that separation is not that evident. The first thing that came to my mind is in the movie Harlem Nights, right? When the white boxer and the black boxer were fighting, right? When the black boxer was hitting the crap out of the guy, it was only the black guys cheering. Right, and then the white guys wouldn't say anything. And when the white guy had one punch on it, everybody jumped up. Yeah, so
right. Everybody's that's right. But that's a good point.
Go ahead, Chuck. Sorry.
Chuck, I know you want to say something, but I do want to say, let's give respect to the people that made it like this today, like the Jackie Robinsons, like the Muhammad Ali's, because we weren't even accepted in certain sports.
Correct.
Yeah. Now it's a different day, so we're not taking that away. We're not, we're not taking that away. But that's a great point to bring up and give credit to, right? There's so many people that, right? So,
and just like I said, I just have to say it's timing, right? Because Ice Cube, right? I didn't see the interview, but from what I'm hearing is like, he's coming up with this, with whatever his project is. Look at the timing. You have the whole protesting, right? Then you got the election. He could have waited until after the election, right? To come up with all this. But why? Hold on. But why?
Oh, I see.
Right? So you have all this civil unjust going, and you have our higher powers, right?
That's hard to say, isn't it? It's really hard to say higher
It's
power.
hard to say
with the current administration.
Right, you have the higher power, right? and that's that saying. You feeling comfortable with what you're saying, right? And you got to be correct on what you say and what you bring up, right? Because
I bet
social media.
See, Here's the thing. That would have been censored, what we just said, right?
Right.
But we're not.
Right.
And
We're
since
not.
he doesn't do this, so we're good. There you
So
go.
listen, I'm
So,
not
Charlie,
gonna
let
go
me
ahead.
ask you
Yeah,
for
I don't
me.
want to get too far into it, but yeah,
No, you're
go
good.
ahead, go ahead.
I'm not. So what you're saying right now, and I don't know, and I'm not embarrassed to say I don't know because
Of
I
course.
watch the media and the news a different way than a lot of people. Can you, for us and the fans out there, give me the basics on what's going on with Ice Cube and what he said? Because I'm not aware, to be
But I
honest.
don't though. That's why I didn't
Yeah.
elaborate on it,
So
because I said
Oh,
I didn't see
so
the
okay,
whole thing. So it's like
okay.
just
Maybe
I'm
Ray.
example. Yeah.
so and this happened maybe 2 weeks ago, right? So
Mhm.
and then he had to go on CNN to kind of explain to Chris Cuomo his position, because one thing that the media does very well is, without getting all the facts, they start bashing people. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
then, and that's what caught my attention. Like, Ice Cube is, people are going off on Ice Cube for working with for the Republicans and everything else. So I said, okay, interesting. So it just so happened that he was going to be on Chris Cuomo to explain himself, and even in the lead-in, as Chris was presenting him, he said, like, Ice Cube is working with Pence people or Trump people, blah 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 blah. And then Ice Cube comes on and, like, first of all, you're misleading in the lead, right? I never went to them, right? I had basically he has a plan for economic advancement and supplement of, to get wealth in the black community, the brown community, and
Okay.
like an investor, to Charlie's point, right? He wants to get people to come in and look at the plan and then work with him, his team, and because he talk about building real estate wealth, opportunities in certain sectors that they don't have today. But he wanted to get to a platform where everybody jumps in, because the more people, the more awareness you get, the more successful the program will be. And again, that's my speculation. But because the first people he spoke to both parties, one answered much faster than the other, then it was seen as, oh, he's working with them, and all he did was just listen to their plan, or they listened to his plan. And of course, that group, they're the one that also started putting all this stuff out there. Oh, we're working closely with Ice Cube, which he never really said on his side. So
And that's why I said
they,
it.
on their end, they wanted to take it to that level of, look at, we're already working with the black community and blah 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 blah. So
And
that's what
that's
they
what I'm
wanted
saying.
to do.
It's timing. So why Ice Cube, he could have came out with this way before the election, right? Or he could have waited till after the election. But this is perfect timing, right? Because we have this whole civil unjust, right? And it's the election. And guess what? If you can help the black and brown community in any way, right? And you're trying to get elected, what better time? What's the
But
better time in it to get this platform that you're
I'm
working
sorry.
on, that you're
I'm still
this platform
confused.
that you're working on out there?
Right. So I'm still confused. So you didn't rate. I'm sorry. You didn't really explain. So he got backlash because he's supporting the Republican Party.
He's not supporting
he's not
anybody.
supporting anybody. The Republican, whoever was working from the Trump side, started
Okay.
tweeting already that we are
Okay.
working with
Oh, I see.
Cube. So they
I
made
got
it
it.
look like he's working with them, which is
Oh, that
not
he's
the
siding with.
case.
I got it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I was going to add, I wanted to add this, right? So
Thank you.
it kind of, I think this kind of a word that Eddie likes to use, umbrella, right? This is going to be the umbrella of
Oh,
everything, right?
yeah.
So it seems like nowadays there has to be a rush to be the first one to put the news out there, whether it's
Mm.
right, wrong, or
Doesn't
completely
matter. Yeah.
incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
It's, to your point, it's timing. Is whoever gets it out there first,
First.
people will
Yeah.
consume it,
Yeah.
because we're losing our own identity, our own opinion. They're like, oh well,
Yeah.
this is what the Post said. Okay, this is what Vice said. Okay, this is what CNN said. Okay, right. So it's there's this rush to get this information out there, because they know already that certain people have allegiance to this paper or this newspaper, and then they're going to believe it, like Bible. So again, Eddie, I think you mentioned this. It's a numbers game, right? If I know could get if I could be controversial, but I'm still going to get a lot of, visibility, like exposure, then I'll do it. And a lot of times, the information may not be correct, but the end goal is I'll get you on my side regardless if it's right or wrong. And it doesn't have to be okay. I know we're talking about on the political side, but we could take this in anything, right? People, so there's some companies would use those methodologies to just create some level of controversy, so it could get either sales or exposure or whatever it is, right? So nowadays it seems like it's a tactic. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So I want to say something positive about politicizing something, right? Now that I have a phone and I can record, I'm politicizing certain things when I put it on social media, and it can be used as something positive. For example, policing, because people have, phones, and they're able to record certain things that happen that shouldn't happen, and that brings attention. And we're forcing the media to now pay attention to these bad experiences that people have. And it's almost like flipping, right? Before, we would have to sit and wait for the TV to bring information to us. Yep. Now we can record something and say, but I have the evidence here. So politicizing doesn't necessarily mean that it's negative at this point. I believe that it's so what it is, and this is the way the world moves, that now we have to figure out on how to use politics to kind of balance out the world, even if it's for something like equality and being treated fairly, such as policing, right? Like, why do I have to get pulled over because I fit a certain character, right? And when you record this now, it's like, hey, wait. So this is where the whole defunding came in. This is where the whole thinking, because the people are now waking up. Not that this is something that's starting today. People are coming together. So to one aspect of politicizing, it can bring you together if it's done the right way, right? It can bring people together because, and this wasn't a color thing. There's all types of people that believe equality, and that there's, injustices in policing, and not all police are bad as well. I don't want to go one way. I'm just saying this is another another angle that we can see politics, and something that can be politicized, where it can be used as something positive, so we can,
So in that definition, Eddie, so does that mean that so then politics has always been present in everyday society, everyday life? So, for example, I'm probably sure you've heard the term, man, I don't want to deal with the politics at work. I just want to get something done. What does that really mean when you don't want to deal with the politics at work?
The ideology of thinking?
I don't know. That's a good way to put it, man. I like that. That. Yeah,
that's the way. Yeah. I can look at the.
But in that case, I think that adjective is being used as negative, and I think the politics. What that means is that there's a chain. There's chains in command. I think it's rules. I think there's certain people that are in certain positions that have to follow a certain protocol. Right.
Yep.
Right. And like you say, the powers that be, people in certain chairs, they may not do their positions well. Maybe they speak down to certain people, and maybe it's just the path that they have to take in their jobs. I think it means something differently to different people. But when I hear the politics, I think the politics is just something that we've accepted as the way it kind of is.
It should be, right?
Right, based on what has been instilled in our minds that it is.
And what happens?
And
this
is what it's used as something. It's used as something negative. But that's what people are doing now, right? I think that's what people do when they feel like there's an injustice. So you're changing the politics. That's what I'm saying. I think it's connected to something negative. Do you think every race uses the politics as that phrase? Do you think everybody says those are the politics, or is it certain people that use those phrases? I'm just asking. I really don't know.
Or so look, say you might like where I'm from California, and every once in a while, get with my boys and we'll go, we're just politicking together. Different phrase, so but that's in a positive way, because we're just hanging out talking, and we even though we're not
chopping it up,
we're not talking about politics. It's just the form of coming together and talking and just being as one.
Okay, so
listen to the definition, right? Real quick. So maybe this will be some clarity to the. So politics is a set of activities that are associated with making decisions in groups, right, or other forms of power relations between individuals, such as distribution or resources or status.
So with that said, my question to Chuck is this, right? So
That's
if you
powerful.
guys are getting together and discussing and talking and sharing ideas, why can you not say you're conversating? Now I know I know it's a it's a term.
Right.
The reason why I think we started adopting the word politicking is because, okay, you may have some situation where you're going to have some conversations or topics that are people strongly believe in and they'll stand by
Correct.
it.
Right.
Point where they'll agree to disagree. You'll get, it might get vocal, it might get
Right.
emotional, it might get, to, but it's still a conversation.
Right.
But I think because he has those aspects of, oh man, you don't believe in that? How could you not believe?
Right.
And you make your
Good
point,
point. Yep.
But
right?
Good
but
point.
guess
Yep.
what? But
It,
guess what?
mhm.
It look,
That's a great point.
when they're on Capitol Hill, what are they doing? They're not getting
Politics.
along. They're disagreeing. They're speaking
Exactly
their mind.
doing. They have an
Everything that
agenda. So basically, they have an agenda behind anything that they say out there. There's an agenda, right?
right.
There's a
So
deal
if me
going
and
on
my
somewhere.
boys politicking, what are we doing? We're congregating, right? We're trying to
Exactly.
work out our
It's a
plans. It's a phrase. It's a term that's
it's
been
a
adopted.
multi-meaning word. That's all it
It's a
is.
multi-minute word, like you said. So
Yeah,
I just
All right.
I just find
they're chopping it up.
it's interesting when, again, I'm just throwing it out there, like when there's a lot of conversation around, what we like right now, what we're doing. We're talking, we're having some points, everything. Politicking, the first thing that comes to me is somebody on their podium go like that. I believe in this, I believe in that. And that's the word that comes to mind. The
Getting the
first thing that comes to
Right,
mind.
politics, right?
Yeah,
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 right.
yeah.
Of course, of course.
yeah.
So
All
right
right,
now
all right.
we
So this is a
have
good
two
conversation.
parties.
Yep. Keep
So
going,
right
keep
now
going.
we have two parties, and they're using topics, and they're standing on podiums, and they're being posed questions about certain topics, so they can speak about what they feel and how they're going to help uh, people that fall under these, I guess, like these umbrellas, right? Like for example, right? How are you going to help people who are unemployed right now, right? Unemployment turns into politics. So I think politics is also people in certain government positions. I'm not going to say powers that be, but certain people that are in positions. And because we're the people put these people in these positions, we expect them to represent us. Whoever you are the us. Whether I believe in this or I believe in that, you should represent me. So if I'm a person that's unemployed and you answer these questions the way I kind of want to hear it, like what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that everybody's accounted for, that we make sure we reach out to every unemployed person. We make sure we give them 600. So now you have my attention. So there you get my votes. And when you get my votes, you get the
You get
power
elected.
and you get the, right? So you get that position. The problem is that a lot of people use it as a tool, and a lot of people, it's a lot of people are corrupted in politics because they say what they're going to say before they're elected, and then they get elected and they never go back to what they said they were going to do.
Nope.
So that's where
Not
we
in
are
America.
now.
Not in America.
No. Everywhere in the world.
Yeah. So
Everywhere in the world, really.
So I read this great quote that I want to read to you guys, and I really want to hear first from our brother Manny, and I want to get his thought on this quote. So it goes like this. It says, "To regain civility in human interactions, and finally treat each other human beings as human beings again, we would do well to get politics out of the human affairs." So Manny, what do you think about that?
Yep. So my way of thinking um, is not too complicated, and I know not everybody agrees with it, and it's not as simple. But so far, I think it's worked for me in a lot of ways. I believe in staying in tune with what's happening, right? But if you people want to learn how to stop the racism and stop a lot of all the brutality and inequality, at least not stop it altogether, but remove it from remove it from your world to some extent. Turn off the TV, put down your phone, and if you really want to help, get involved in your community, because we take it so far, right? We take it so far, but yet we don't focus on the inner cities and in our neighborhood. To answer your question, Ray, yeah, I don't think you have to remove politics. I just think that you have to just respect how people think and not judge them because I don't like avocados. That means it's different. That's just me. That's what makes me special,
Hey
right?
man, I love avocados.
I do too. I'm just saying.
Leave them avocados alone.
That's
Leave the avocados out of this conversation.
I don't either.
and that's what I think. A lot of the times I just try to isolate myself from all the noise that you get constantly. We get bombarded. We wake up, we turn on, the TV. If we get a 5 minute break, we're in our phones. If not, back to the laptop or the desktop. We're on screens all day. Oh, let me relax. It's TV, and watching the game is a commercial about something. We're bombarded, so just limit the times that you get with the screen time. Yes, be aware of what's happening. Don't be oblivious. Don't be, don't live on Mars, like they say. Be aware of what's going on, but I can have a conversation if the person is open-minded enough to respect my point of views. I'm going to respect yours, and I just hope you don't see me differently because I don't just believe everything you say. That's all. Sorry for the lengthy.
No. I think that we have to learn how to trust people a little more. I should say first, open up and learn to listen to people, and then we have to learn to trust people a little more. You can't trust everybody. You can't take everybody for their word, but at least be open and listen, and be willing to open up to maybe their thoughts, their ideology, or whatever you want to, you know what I mean? You just got to be able to listen first. And then if you don't want to agree with it after you listen to it, guess what? They're going to give you a little more respect because you did listen to them, right?
That's it.
So that I'm not gonna get too deep in it, but that's it, man. It's like that was saying a lot, and people just have to be open to that.
I don't think you guys. I don't think you guys are going to like my answer, but we'll get there. I want to hear.
But I'm going to respect it.
Yeah, I want to hear Eddie.
No, I just want to add a little piece to what Chuck is saying. When two people are having a conversation is productive when you're willing to understand, to have a conversation with a possibility that maybe that person may change your mind as well about something that you think, right? Because we think a certain way, it doesn't mean that we're grounded and that's the best way that you believe in what you say. You know how many times my mind, I'm like, wow, that's a great point. And then that becomes part of my thinking. And I'm like, you know what? Let me research that. I was close to that thinking. Good conversations come from open hearts. And when you open your heart to the person that you're talking to, that means that you're willing to listen, truthfully listen. Not just say, yeah, that's what he thinks. I'm not going to listen. No, but wait a minute. That person makes a lot of great points. Maybe you were the one that was, not totally
clouded,
clear what you thought, right? So I think those are productive, but I don't think everyone is like that, right? It's like either this or that.
When is your next book signing? Because I want to go.
I just want a chapter in your book.
Well said. No, you said what I said perfectly, man. That's awesome. Good job.
You guys ready to hear my answer? And then we're going to wrap up the show. So actually on this one, I don't have a very positive outcome of where the trend is going, right? Because if we go from the simple fact of having, terms like Black Lives Matter, or the fact that just wearing a mask to save somebody's lives becomes a topic of of complete um part being part of certain groups. I don't see that trend changing, because it became a tool that you can use to gain people's either, I know, Chuck, you said trust, but I think this is just blind ignorance, right? And then
but I said first you got to be open to them and then trust them.
Yeah, but
and then not trust them, but trust.
I don't think there's that trust factor is going to come easy. I just think
it's
a
not,
lot of it is
never
blind ignorance, and it's a numbers game. If I could get if look at elections, right? You have to have a certain number in order to but that's pure politics. But that's where we're today, right? All I'm saying is that it's so ingrained in the social media, right? We're looking at things, there's if you look at if you buy Nike versus Adidas, there's all these following
competition. Samsung
versus
yeah.
Apple, right? So it's
So
just going
silly.
down that path where it's like, okay, you know, the way we are communicating, the way we are seeing things is being really, really formed by the masses, and the masses are the media. There is no real individualisms at the rate that it used to be before, right? Our creativity, our ability to communicate openly, freely, all these are just being taken away by us piece by piece, and then we're starting to revolt.
If you let them, but if you let them.
Yeah, but I think that we're slowly getting outnumbered by the dummies. And the
That's a
people
good.
are just following
There's
like,
a lot of them out there,
blindly.
man.
There.
And then the
Woo.
smart ones are like,
Wow.
okay, it's I mean it's becoming really a challenge to engage in like in a simple conversation. Like to your point, man, you said it's all the time. I want to be able to have a conversation about somebody that we could exchange, have difference of
Sure.
opinion. How
Yeah.
often do you have those conversations
No,
where
rarely. That's why I keep my mouth.
you come in, you immediately you're like, okay, yeah, you already know where this person
Yeah,
stands
I already know.
by
Yeah,
certain
no.
things that they say.
And that's the thing though too, is like, just like I said, it's like if you give a person a chance and just kind of listen to them, let them open up, just be open to listen to them. Give it, even if they are, like you said, the biggest dummy, if you give them a chance to be heard, do I tell you
You feel
that
like saying for yourself, come here, you little dummy.
dude, that will go a long way. If because you have people out there, you have some people out there that's never been listened to, that's never just been sat there and let someone, they've spoken and someone just sat there and listened, didn't interrupt them and didn't do anything. And when they were done, that probably completely changed their whole life because someone listened to them and gave them a chance to speak that one time.
I think at the end of the day, we come into this world crying for attention. We all want to be heard, whether it's right or wrong. All we want is attention and for someone to hear us.
And just like I said, you give that person one chance, and that one
does it
chance
matter
may
what they
change.
say, or you
It
just
doesn't
want to be
matter.
heard?
Just let
So
them. Just
what
let them
are
be heard.
those? What do you call those papers? The Star? What are those? Those type of papers?
Enquirer magazines.
Yeah, what are
Yeah.
those?
The tabloids.
Exactly. I mean, there is a career behind it. You have actual
Oh,
journalists,
big money. Yeah.
but is the story? Some of it is real. Some of it is
But
just
guess where the tabloids
like
went?
like
They went to your
I had
phone.
a baby with an alien. I mean, like who? Like
But that's on your phone now, bud.
oh
Did you
yeah.
see this one? Did you see that one? That's what we get.
So I'm glad you said that because I'm saying that's the evolution that I see is where it's going
Right.
down that path. Like where
Mm-hmm.
before it was very distinct and separate, but now
Right.
it's just basically just meshing into
Yeah, but you got to know. You got to be able to know how to weed that crap out. You know what I mean? So
Discipline.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to
Yeah.
be
I
disciplined
know
and
you
just,
and I can do it. Trust me, I know
yeah.
you and I can do it. But for others who were just born in this, listen, some people
That's
are
all they
born
know.
in this environment. To your point, it's like somebody only knows, like somebody like a 15-year-old would only know LeBron. They wouldn't know much about Jordan or the others that came behind or before them. But
Yeah.
we happen to see that transformation. So from my angle, we're like, man, that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
Mhm.
we're going down that path where I don't think it's going to be, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be even more challenging to have a simple,
But
yeah,
there's also people saying that same thing about us before the Jordan, right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like before, I find myself now listening, saying to some kids like, "Oh my God, listen to that music." But I used to hear that from my mother. So I get what you're saying, Ray. But I'm just saying it's good or bad is changing. Like Chuck says, it's up to us to discipline ourselves and our loved ones as much as we can, right? I know I have to discipline myself because I find myself picking up the phone more than I should. I end up deleting certain social media because I'm like, wow, they really know what they're preying on my on my freaking dopamine. I'm telling
They do a
you,
good job.
they
Yeah,
do a
that's
really
good.
good job. You know,
What did
Man,
we do?
let's,
What did we do before the computer and the phone
yeah,
came
yeah,
out?
yeah.
What did we do? We had to do what? We had to speak to each other. We had to call people. We had to reach out, and we had to physically. If you wanted something, you wanted to say something, you had
knock on
that
somebody's door.
knock on somebody. You had
You
that
had to
human
fight
to
for the
human
phone.
contact. You
But
had that
wait,
human
wait,
to
Chuck,
human contact. Yes.
and also be more creative. You know how many kids don't play at all? They don't even know. Like all they know is these little
Go
games.
outside. What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they buy earphones and then
Mhm.
they do it through the internet and they
Yep.
play
Fortnite.
together. but they're not really playing together.
Yep,
Exactly.
yep.
So there was more creativity back, as far as for like group games and
Well, listen,
and innocence. So I think there was more innocence back
That's
then.
how you found out. That's how you found out some new family moved in. Who are the new kids?
My mother made me go outside and play.
Who's the new girl?
Go outside and play with your friends. You ain't about to sit in here and play Atari. That was what I had. ColecoVision.
But even technology is politics, right? Speaking about politics and politicizing things, even technology is politics, right? So even our kids and they fall into that world of it.
Yep. All right. So I mean, this has been a very, very, lively conversation.
It was good. I liked it.
We covered a lot from, paying homage to, the forefathers such as Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson in the sport arena to kind of like, break down some of the barriers in progressing where we are today to, the use of some of the political tactics and trying to get some opinions in the technology world or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's all about communication and being able to respect and understand and just have the sense of respect, understand your point, and have a conversation. So great conversation, guys. I really want to thank you guys for participating. From Eyaoh, Manny Fresh, and Charles T. Like I said, if you like what we're saying, you can we always like you to subscribe, but providing us your comments at the end is always truly meaningful. It means a lot to us. It keeps us going to understand what are the next topic, which we'll drop.
And even if you don't like it, right?
The next one is what we talked about. We covered it here a little bit. It's going to be definitely around sports. Could be Tyson versus Roy Jones for now. I'll leave it as that. All right. All right, folks. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
United Podcast.
Great job, Ray. Thank you.
UPC. Yes, sir.
Appreciate you guys. That's it.